All right, well, welcome to your Mastery Tips and Tricks show. I'm so happy and grateful to be here with all of you. Well, we have special guest Anne Dunnett. And please, Anne, tell us more about yourself and what you do.
Thank you. First of all, I just wanted to say thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here. Yes, my name is Anne Dunnett. I am a creative entrepreneur, a designer, a writer, and a haiku poet. And I help women who are craving simplicity in their lives to learn how to go from that busy, everybody's so busy, from doing to going into more of a state of being. So then they can feel empowered to have more joy, a deeper connection with nature, find that stillness within, and be in harmony with the energy of the seasons.
I love that. That's beautiful. Very impactful. How did you get started with that?
Well, we're going to go back several decades. I was first introduced to haiku poetry when I was 10, and my grandmother wrote haiku poetry, and I had an elementary school assignment to write haiku, and I got some help from her, so I cheated a little bit. But that was my first introduction to haiku, and then I actually never touched it again for years and years and years, and I certainly didn't grow up thinking that I wanted to be a poet. I wanted to be an artist, and I went into graphic design, and I graduated from college and got into the big scary world of design, and I found that I wasn't really that inspired by it, and I wanted to have something that was more meaningful and purposeful. And I went down the path of doing craft fairs, and I started using my grandmother's haiku to do little cards. And then I freelanced as a graphic designer on the side for years and years. And I was on this roller coaster of living feast or famine for a long time. And then it was in 2006 where I got really more interested in Zen philosophy, yoga, meditation, mindfulness. I don't think they were even really calling mindfulness that much. It wasn't a trend yet back then. And I bought this really huge book on Japanese culture, and it had a section, a chapter on haiku. And I just got curious, and I got inspired to explore starting to write haiku. And then I ended up connecting with the haiku community. I'm based on Vancouver Island, British Columbia, and I was living in Vancouver at the time, and I joined the Vancouver Haiku group. And I learned a lot about haiku, and I started doing craft fairs again with writing my own haiku, and had little cards and little art pieces. And it wasn't until maybe about 8 years ago where I wanted to teach people more about the philosophy of haiku. And I started teaching people how to write haiku, and I've switched it over a little bit more as more of a tool for mindfulness, to inspire people to connect with nature. And I'll talk a little bit more about what haiku is in a minute, but that's the gist of my story. So,
I love that. And just before we dive into the tips and what is haiku, tell us how you've implemented that into your business, how you work with your clients with this.
it's for inspiring people to be in the moment. So I have created a seasonal living offer that um, the seasons are a big part of haiku, and I've been very inspired to incorporate the seasons and the moon cycles, and how the moon cycles are connected to the seasons, and have integrated the philosophy of haiku in with the seasons and with the moon cycles, and how the energies of the seasons can help us to connect with the rhythms of nature. And that is very grounding, and really just is healthy for our emotional health and our physical health. And it helps people to be present and to be in the moment,
I
which is
love
another big part of what haiku is about.
I'm actually just reading The Power of Now again. It's right beside me,
Mm.
so I think that's so perfect. And I wanted to ask that because you have something called the circle, right? Where people can come and be a part of it and gain information and education and mindfulness tactics from you. And I wanted to bring this forward because I think it's a really cool philosophy, bringing us kind of back to our natural roots. We
Mhm.
originally had a 13-month calendar that goes with the 13 lunar cycles, and I've really been leaning into that regular, more natural calendar this year. So most people, January, we think we were like, let's go get our goals. But actually, it's more of a relaxed month or
Yes.
season it's supposed to be. So I think if people could have a better understanding of the natural rhythms and harmony of our planet, of our ecosystem that we live in, and be in harmony with it, because our current calendar kind of goes against it, even so much that like Mondays are now my self-care days, they're moon days, they're supposed to be relaxation days, and yet they're like the go die hard first day of the week, which is counterintuitive to our actual natural rhythm.
Absolutely. Hmm.
So I've been leaning a lot more into that. I've adjusted my calendar as such, even like my whole company calendar, and we've readjusted and going a lot more with the flow, which feels good. So with that being said, tell us a little bit more about what is haiku and the mastery tips you got for us.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm excited to hear that you're actually exploring all of this because that's exactly what this is about. Yes, for having the Christmas season in December, everybody's always so stressed out and busy, 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 and going to social events and parties. And the
Mhm.
winter season is really
It's
that
supposed to be
time
hibernating,
to
right?
rest and reflect and to hibernate, exactly, and to sleep. The winter season is connected to the nighttime and to old age, which sounds terrible, but it is connected to the stillness
Mhm.
of the restoration that we really should be tapping into. So I agree with you on that. Like with New Year's, it's like set those goals, get out there, be
Do it
busy,
now.
do it, do it, do it. And it's like, no, 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 we should be stepping back and getting quiet.
Yeah, and
So
go
hike
do it when the spring comes, because
spring.
before I was
Mhm.
the opposite, right? And uh, it just intuitively felt like you're swimming uphill, right? Like
Yeah.
you're swimming upstream. So this year has felt so much more in flux and flow. So I definitely encourage everyone to learn more about this and
Mhm.
implement it. And Anne can help you do that. So tell
Yeah.
us.
So haiku is a Japanese form of poetry. It originated in Japan centuries ago, like 15th, 16th century. And it is written in the present tense. There's a lot of misconceptions about haiku, and a lot of people learned about it in elementary school. And a lot of people that I come across, they're always like, oh, isn't it a 3-line poem that is a syllable count of first line's 5 syllables, the middle line 7 syllables, and the last line is five syllables. And that's what I learned, and that's what I thought. And then when I joined the Vancouver Haiku group, that was when they were like, no, 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 no. Forget about the syllables. Because the essence of it is to be in the moment. And it's like taking a photograph of a moment in time and putting it into words. And it's very clear and concise. So it creates images, and it also has a seasonal element to it. And this is really, really authentic, more Japanese, not style, but a Japanese way of writing haiku. There's a lot of haiku poets out there that do the 575 syllable count, which is fine, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. It's just very different. It has a different feel to it. And with haiku, it's also experiential. So it's based on what the poet has experienced, going for a walk in nature, tapping into the senses, what you see, what you hear, what you smell, and
My
then
favorite mindfulness exercise, by the way, to actually tap into the now, to use your senses when you go for
Mhm.
a walk. I
Yeah.
just didn't want to skip over that because guys, we were like, well, how do I be mindful? That was the best tip there that the owner of the nutrition school that I went to was like, just start practicing this every day.
Yeah.
Take a few minutes and just hear what you hear.
Yes.
See what you
You
see.
see.
Smell what you smell. Feel the clothes on your body. What do you touch? And actually tuning into the senses to get into the now,
Yeah.
because we're always up here in story.
Well, and so that's the other thing about haiku is that it takes you out of the thinking mind and it gets you into your body and into your heart because it doesn't tell you to do anything.
Mm,
It
just
shows you and it makes you it not makes you, it doesn't make you do anything, but it helps you to feel the words in the haiku as if you're actually in that moment.
awesome. I love
So
it.
it's got the yes, it's got the senses like the sound of water, the taste of chocolate, or things like that. And it also has two parts. So it will have one image, let's just say cherry moon, and then the next two lines would flow a little bit more into each other. So I would read like the first line. I have a couple of haiku if you want me to actually read one.
Yeah, I think right now, because it's
Okay.
hard to get it explaining it. Let's just
Mhm.
hear one.
Okay, I'm gonna read
Yeah.
one. I've got a couple here. So when I also with haiku, I always read it twice, and this is part of what all haiku poets do because it helps you to actually feel it. You hear it twice, and then you can sink into the words.
Yeah, much more present the second
And
time, hopefully as
and
well.
I just invite you to just close your eyes. I've got a beautiful spring one. One more thing before I read it. Haiku is about simplicity. It's about simplicity and being in the moment, the senses and the seasons.
I love it.
Okay, so yes, just take a deep breath, close your eyes. Plum blossom scent. A touch of pink flutters in the wind. Plum blossom scent. A touch of pink flutters in the wind.
Beautiful.
It's just so simple.
Yeah. And it really brings you present and let everybody
Mhm.
see and feel and sense. We're saying it's like spring here today, so I could
Mhm.
easily see it because I could hear all the birds chirping in the background. Yeah,
Mhm.
just bring us into the now. Use
Yeah.
our imagination to see what it says in the poem.
Mhm.
See, sense. I love that. Beautiful.
Like you could see, almost see the blossoms, the pink and the
Smell
blossoms,
them
and
and see
you know,
them.
and I think that we're so conditioned to be doing things, and we don't even know how to experience some of these things
How to just
anymore.
be.
Just be. Mhm.
Yeah, I like to say it's human beings, not human doings.
Yeah.
And so Sunday is my no schedule rule where I just am a human being. So
Mhm.
I do whatever I feel like doing when I feel like doing it because that's what I want to be at that moment instead
Yeah.
of following our rigid schedule and staying committed to things that we just don't feel like doing that day. So
Mhm.
I love that, being that human being. So give us a few
Mhm.
tips of how you integrate that. And your tips today specifically is how to blossom into spring, which is so perfect for a sunny day
Oh,
like today
a
here.
absolutely. I know it's getting nicer here too. I'm starting to see some flowers bud, and I just feel so geeky these days, but it just brings me so much joy. It's so exciting. Like we have a big willow tree in our backyard, and you can start to see the little buds that are starting to form.
Life, life,
It's
new
just
life, right?
well, this is life. This is like, and yeah, the more we connect with nature and the more we connect with these things, I think the better we're going to feel. And one thing I was actually going to say earlier is since I've been writing haiku and learning about haiku and being so inspired by it, I do live in the moment more than I used to. Like I used to have a lot of depression and anxiety, and I would always, be either not worrying, but dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. And I don't do that anymore. I just trust and I let go and I just allow things to unfold
I love it.
a
I love
lot
it.
more than like it's like when you know, plant a little seed and you have to trust that nature does grow. Like things will grow, even though it feels like nothing's happening. I've gone through so many periods in my life where it was just like I felt like I was like not doing anything.
Mm,
Like, but having those moments or those time periods of not knowing anything, and then all of a sudden, you know, that spring comes alive and then things start to change and shift and grow.
yeah. And life
So,
works in seasons. Our
mhm,
business works in seasons. If it was always spring, it would
mhm,
work, right? So there needs to be the time for the regeneration. I like how you called like the winter time to go into silence.
mhm,
Uh, and I think for a lot of us, we feel like we have to always be in that go mode. So we like to say, you plant the seed, then you
yeah,
have to cultivate it, then you
ex
get to harvest, then you get to reap. And those are your seasons in your life and in your business. And often, those moments where we take the time to be silent, to go inward, to slow down, to actually speed up, is when we get those that inner guidance. And when it looks like nothing is happening on the outside at that time,
mhm,
then later we get
mhm,
to reap.
yeah,
So there's the seasons are in the in nature, but they're also in our life and also in our business. And it's starting to understand that, to be in harmony with it, which
mhm,
allows the flow. And I was speaking to somebody yesterday who's going to be a new guest, and she kept saying one of the biggest things is to allow. And I said, okay, I get it.
mhm,
But for
mhm.
our listeners, how does one allow? And so I like how you use the haiku to bring you present, to surrender, to allow, to receive. I just thought I'd ask one more thing before we dive into the tips. Is there anything else you do that you use to like allow you to surrender and just be in faith and trust? Could you?
I think the answer to that is to not do anything.
Ah, and so you would sit in silence.
Yeah, yeah. Like I have I think my kind of true nature is to like I live this way. This is my lifestyle. Like I have a simple life, but it comes natural to me and I know that it doesn't to all people, but I've been able to simplify my life and you know, more because I'm aware of these things maybe, but I think I think it kind of almost comes down to what you value, what is important to you,
Yeah,
what I think I'm seeing people not wanting things as much, like
spend more
the bells and the
time.
whistles and the fancy cars and the nice clothes and like sure we still want to have some of those things, but I think people are wanting a little deeper meaning.
Their values are
The
changing a
values
little
are
bit,
changing.
right? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love that. I definitely see a big shift in consciousness that
Yeah.
way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure. Mhm.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so tell us, how can we blossom in the spring with IQ?
Yes. So one of the things, I would say the first thing. So spring is connected to a you know renewal, birth, a rebirth, and youthfulness, and
Mm,
it's in the morning. So I would suggest when you wake up, and you even just said that, you know, tapping into your senses, listen to what you hear. If there's birds chirping outside, and but just have that mindfulness and that awareness of what spring represents, and recall some of your childhood dreams because that's really what youthfulness, you know, from birth till you know into our adolescence is kids dream
mm,
and spring is about dreaming and planting seeds and just
yeah.
revisiting your childhood. You know, not
I
everybody
think
had cushy childhoods, and I know that could be a little bit triggering,
But just
but
the I agree, and I think that's a really nice thing for you to say to create that framework. I just wanna take it, like, as so simple. When were kids, we use our imagination,
imagination.
right? And that's God's gift to us to create. And
Hmm.
somewhere, somehow, it got stifled, the ability to use it, to even see the pictures in your mind. So it's just like a muscle we wanna exercise.
Hmm.
Um, and one of the first things I do with my clients when they come in is we set what we call your BHAG, your big, hairy, audacious goal. And so the number one thing we do is we have you start dreaming. And
Hmm.
you would be surprised how many people just have stopped dreaming and they let their
Yeah.
ideas and dreams die inside of them
Yeah.
because we can't see the how. So there we need to disconnect from the how. We show you all that in the planning later, but in the creation of the dreams, like I think right now is so perfect. Like if Anne waved a magic wand for you and you could have whatever you wanted, what
Hmm.
would you be, do, and have? And just allow yourself
Allow,
to
again,
dream. Allow that word.
allow.
Yeah.
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 Hmm.
I love it. Amazing. So tell us more about being curious
Um, so,
with the
sorry.
energies of the spring.
Well, I go, so yeah, be curious about the energies of spring. You know, it's again, it's about those planting those seeds. You know, babies are born, not all babies are born, but when you really look back at summer, the summer season is connected to the full moon, and the full moon is about creativity, abundance. It's for making babies. That's when, you know, if you're still cycling, you know, that's ovulation, that's creation. So if you really looked at a whole year, ovulation in summer and then birth in the spring. So
Mm.
spring is about that burst of life, that energy, and I think just tapping into that part of yourself of waking up, you know, waking up from that winter slumber.
Waking up that inner child who's curious.
Yeah. Hmm.
And when I was studying at Landmark, one of the things that I had to learn in life and business with people, like we are so quick to judge.
Hmm.
And what if we just got curious instead? What is that person going through? What does their life look like? What does their day look like?
Hmm.
How can I put myself in the person's shoes? Getting curious. So I love that energy of spring. And I think if we all just brought that into our everyday life, release the ego a little bit and get a little bit more curious,
Hmm.
we could all live a little more joyful.
Oh, absolutely. And I would say the last little tip is to plant some seeds. Not physical well, you could plant physical seeds,
Yeah.
but spring is about gardening. So it's seeds of intentions. You know, what do you want to see grow in your life, and to nurture those seeds.
So
And
don't plant the seeds in the middle of winter, you mean? Like how our calendar tells us like set new goals for January 1st.
I
You
kn
need to
I
set
know, I know. Really, the goal setting, let's change this. New Year's
yeah.
goal resolutions, well, we don't even do resolutions, I don't,
Yeah.
but goal setting really should be happening in the spring season.
Yeah. I love that. So now is the perfect time, guys, to wave that magic wand. Get curious, let the imagination begin, revisit those childhood dreams. And maybe you haven't been dreaming before. Now is the first time, an amazing time to start doing it. And it's time to plant those seeds of intentions. So,
Mhm,
intentions are like putting your order into the universe. If you don't ask for what you desire, you cannot receive it. And instead, you will get the leftovers or whatever is coming your way. So, right now, more than ever, it is so important that you take the time to plant those seeds of intention. And I use your top 10 desires of the year. And then I take those top five and we read them, write them, say them every day. The book, The Magic,
Mm,
It's a really great practice where the beginning of every year, I've been doing it for years, where we write all of our top desires. So if you waved a magic wand,
mm,
like your magical to-do list, your magical, I call it your universal shopping list. You put all that you desire on it.
mhm.
And then we would pick our top 10, and then you break that down to the top 5. And then we read and write those every day, and we set those intentions. So in our workbooks, that's what we call it, setting intentions, but then we write our top 5 desires.
Mm,
So I'm just going to throw it out there for you guys. What
mhm.
would be 5 things that if you could be, do, and have whatever you wanted this year, what might that be? Just let yourself imagine.
Yeah, very nice.
Amazing. So, Anne, where can people learn more about you? And you have a great free gift for them. So tell us more about that.
Yes, I have a 10-minute seasonal haiku meditation. So it takes you through the 4 seasons in 10 minutes.
I love it.
And it does have haiku woven throughout it. So I have 4 haiku, of course, for each season: spring, summer, fall, winter. And it just is connected to nature, and it's a very creative guided meditation that will just open up that, again, that imagination and that curiosity about nature, and some, with the haiku in it. So that's one little gift that I have created for people. And then, of course, I've got the Everyday Seasonal Living Circle, which is a membership ongoing. And when people join that, they get a weekly haiku that will be within the season. They get a seasonal journal, which is a little bit over, it's like 106 pages. And it has the weekly haiku. It's got journal prompts, and
Beautiful.
it just is tapping into each season. So I swap that out, obviously, 4 times a year.
Yeah.
And starting the seasons, not around the equinoxes or the solstices. It was just a little challenging to do that. So I'm starting spring for March. So spring is March, April, May. Summer is June, July, August. So and doing it like that. I'm starting to get my content all ready for spring, which is in my mind right now. That's why
I
we were
love it.
talking about spring today. And I also incorporate the seasonal moon cycles of the week. So each week you also go through 4 seasons. So, we're having a full moon today. So
Woohoo!
I'll talk in the message that I put out this week on Monday. So I have Monday moments. So the Monday moments is a little bit longer, and I have a theme for every month, and then break that down, or sorry, a theme obviously for the season, and then each month is another theme. The theme for February has been love, and also with winter. And they get their haiku, they get a little bit, here's the moon cycle of the week, a little bit of information about that, some inspiration. I do a little video that's 10 minutes.
I love it. And
And
so with
then
them implementing all of this, what does it now allow for them?
it allows them just to get into a rhythm of practicing that mindfulness, practicing having that awareness of the season, having that haiku as an anchor point to slow down and breathe. I gave them a couple of weeks ago a little haiku tip, and I suggested to take the haiku and write it on a sticky note and put it in front of their mirror, or put it somewhere, put it in their pocket. Like, if you're having a hard day and you just need to take that breath to slow down, use the haiku as that anchor to give
That,
you that moment of
yeah.
just breathe.
So it's going to bring you back to the now and have you flow in harmony in life and bring in more ease and flow into your life and
Mhm.
start being a human being instead of a human doing.
Absolutely.
And really truly get back to our not
Mhm.
a natural roots, holistic roots.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
think that's That's truly the magic of implementing this for you guys. So I think it's an incredible opportunity to join the circle. And if you're curious, just grab that meditation. It's going to be 10 minutes that'll help you be centered, help you be in harmony, and help you get more in the flow. And who wouldn't rather float downstream than swim upstream against resistance? So thank you, Anne, so much for being on the show today. You're such a beautiful soul and great energy. So guys, it's time to get into the power of now, right? Like we're reading that book, and this is exactly how you can do it. People always say, well, how do you? Anne's going to help you do that with these simple tools all week long. And thank you again for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. This has been lovely. So I've
Absolutely,
really
my
enjoyed
pleasure.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, remember, expect magic and miracles. Stay happy, healthy, wealthy. And what is the best that can happen? We'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.